Imagine a country where suddenly 5 times more money enters the economy, but the amount of food, clothing, tools, and housing stays the same. Nothing magical happens. Prices rise. That is exactly what happened in Spain. Silver flooded in from the Americas. The money supply exploded, but farms did not expand. Workshops did not grow. Productivity stayed flat. This triggered what historians call the price revolution. Before 1500, prices in Europe were remarkably stable. A loaf of bread cost roughly the same for generations. But in Spain, prices rose by 400%. 4 times higher. This was not gradual. This was economic shock. Why ordinary people became poorer. Here is where people get confused. How can people become poorer when the country is richer? Because wages do not rise with inflation. Farmers earn the same. Laborers earn the same. Soldiers earn the same. But bread cost more. Rent cost more. Clothing cost more. So a Spanish peasant in 1600 saw more silver than his grandfather ever did. Yet he could buy less food. Starvation returned, not because food disappeared, but because money stopped representing value. This is the same mechanism behind modern inflation crises, just slower, quieter, and deadlier. How Spanish industry died. Inflation destroyed more than living standards. It destroyed competitiveness. Let's take a simple example. A shoemaker in Seville now had to pay more for food, leather, and rent. So he raised his prices. His shoes cost 10 silver coins. Meanwhile, a shoemaker in France or England, where silver had not flooded the economy, could sell the same shoes for 2 silver coins. So what did buyers do? They stopped buying Spanish goods. They imported cheaper foreign products. Spanish industry didn't collapse suddenly. It suffocated. Factories closed. Workshops emptied. Skills disappeared. Spain became a nation that consumed, not produced. Silver in, silver out. The Great Drain. Here is the ultimate irony. Silver arrived in Spain and immediately left. Spain imported food, cloth, tools, weapons. To pay for these imports, Spain sent silver abroad. France, England, the Netherlands, Italy, Spain did the mining. Spain endured the suffering. Europe took the profits. A saying emerged at the time: Spain is the mouth that eats, chewing for the rest of Europe. Another observer mocked, everything is expensive in Spain except silver. Spain had become a funnel. The Hidalgo mentality. When work became shameful, economics shapes culture. And Spain's culture changed in a dangerous way. Work lost dignity. The ideal Spaniard was no longer the merchant or craftsman, but the Hidalgo, a minor noble who owned land, did no manual labor, lived off pensions or rents. Commerce was beneath him. Craftsmanship was dishonorable. People did not dream of building businesses. They dreamed of securing government jobs near the silver flow. Spain became a society of consumers and bureaucrats, shiny on the outside, hollow inside, a superpower built on ships and hope. Spain still looked powerful. It had armies. It had fleets. It had ceremonies and cathedrals. But its entire system depended on one fragile thing: treasure ships crossing the Atlantic. If the wind failed, if pirates struck, if storms hit, the economy froze, and this made Spain incredibly vulnerable. King Philip II ruled the largest empire on earth, Europe, the Americas, parts of Asia. But ruling the world is expensive. Spain fought. The Ottomans, France, the Dutch. England war after war. Philip did not fund wars with existing money. He funded them with future silver. He borrowed heavily from Genoese and German bankers. Interest rates reached 20, 30, even 40%. Spain was no longer spending silver, it was spending hope. In 1588, Philip made his biggest bet. The Spanish Armada, 130 ships, 30,000 men, thousands of cannons. The most expensive fleet ever assembled. It was not destroyed by superior enemies. It was destroyed by storms, poor planning, and rigid command. Half the fleet sank. The silver ships never arrived. But the debts remained. By the late 1500s, Spain reached an impossible situation. All tax revenue plus all incoming silver was not enough to pay interest alone. Not the debt, just the interest. Spain borrowed to pay old loans, then borrowed again. The bankers of Genoa effectively owned the empire. Spain was no longer sovereign, it was collateral. In 1557, Philip II did the unthinkable. He declared default. Spain stopped paying its creditors. Banks collapsed across Europe. Credit markets froze. It was the 16th century version of a global financial crisis. But here is the tragedy. Spain didn't stop spending. It just borrowed again, at even higher interest. Spain defaulted again in 1575, 1596, 1607, 1627, and 1647. This became a cycle: borrow, spend, crash, and repeat. Eventually, Spain ran out of silver for daily use, so the crown debased the currency. Silver coins were replaced with copper, worthless money. People were forced to accept it. The result? Hyperinflation. The rich hoarded silver. The poor were stuck with copper. Two economies emerged: a silver economy for elites, a junk money economy for everyone else. The middle class vanished. By the 17th century, the silver veins thinned, the mines slowed, and Spain had nothing to fall back on. No industry, no innovation, no financial system. Cities emptied, fields lay fallow. Spain entered centuries of stagnation. Meanwhile, England and the Netherlands used Spanish silver to build ships, create banks, fund industry, launch capitalism. Spain was the funnel. Others became powerful. Spain's story is not about silver. It is about easy money. Easy money breaks the link between work and reward. It destroys productivity. It delays reality. Money can buy time. It cannot buy competence. Spain drowned in silver and starved. Empires do not fall when enemies attack. They fall when money stops meaning work. Spain learned this the hard way, and history keeps repeating it for anyone willing to look.